Vipassana is a technique which consists of sitting down, closing your eyes, and observing your breathing. Breathing must be natural, and you simply have to observe it. That is it. You do not have to do anything else. You will sit and watch your breath with your eyes closed. Vipassana is no concentration, and it is not about observing the breath for a whole hour. When thoughts, emotions, or sensation arise, or when awareness of a sound, smell, and breath outside arise in you, simply let your attention follow them. But do not forget about the breath. Your awareness can include everything that happens to you, outside and inside. If you focus on the breath, it means that you are focused on an object, in this case the breath, and you reject everything else that is happening around you. But internally and externally. This is not Vipassana. Vipassana is the observation of the breath without excluding anything else. When you start meditating, you will start with a concentration, because this is the psychological state you are in. You will need to find quieter and quieter places, because every little noises distract you. When you have found a quiet place and become accustomed to hearing noises without them distracting you from observing your breath, thoughts will become to be the source of distraction. Once you are able to observe the thoughts without getting too distracted, it will be the time of feelings and emotions that will make it difficult for you to concentrate on the breath. Summing up, initially it will be the noises happening around you that will distract you. Once you have found a quiet place, you will be able to focus better on what is happening inside you. Then the thoughts will start to distract you. When you are able to calm your mind, mainly through silent retreat, your feelings will be the source of distraction. Feelings, emotions, are the most difficult to observe. However, with time and a lifestyle not repressed, even this obstacle can be overcome. Do not forget that you must always observe the breath. Breath must always be the first object. By continuing to observe the breath, you will be able to be aware of other things. Let's take the noises that happen outside of you. You are sitting meditating and a car is passing by. Your attention will move from your breath to the sound of the car passing by. You got distracted. This will happen to you many times, to be distracted by the noises, because you are focusing. One day it will happen that the noise of the passing car does not distract you. You will remain focused on your breath, but at the same time you will be aware of the noise of a passing car. You will not be focused right now, but you will be an observer. The breath is the first object, the noise of the car is the second object. By continuing the practice, you will be able to observe the breath, but at the same time be aware of all the noises happening around you. You will be aware of the breath, but at the same time of what happens outside of you. But remember, the only way to be aware is to keep observing your breathing. Never focus your attention on the other things that happen. The moment you do this, you will forget about the observation and you will find yourself completely identified with the object you are observing. Then the thought will start in association with what you are observing, and you will soon find yourself completely identified with the thought. You will have forgotten the breath, the observation. In other words, you won't remember yourself anymore. The same thing happens with thoughts. Thoughts can be observed, but not directly. You cannot observe thoughts directly, because the thinker and the thoughts are one and the same. The thinker generates thoughts, and the thoughts create the thinker. So completely forget that you can observe thoughts, but observing thought is possible. It sounds like a contradiction, but is not. In the spiritual world, you will find yourself facing many contradictions. These appear contradiction only because our mind has been conditioned to think according to Aristotelian logic. Aristotelian logic has no value in the spiritual world. Observing thoughts takes time and constant practice and an unrepressed lifestyle. You are sitting, watching the breath. After a few seconds, the thought arrives, as if it were a cloud in the sky that covers the sun. But the sun is always there, not disturbed by the cloud. The same thing must happen to you. The moment the thought comes, you observe the breath. It will be difficult. The thought will do everything to distract you from the observation of breathing. But this is not your problem. Thought does what it has always done, grabbing your attention for energy. It is you who now do not want to pay attention to thought, but want to remain an observer of the breath. Do not struggle with the thought. If you struggle, you identify with the thought. The speaker repeats, you and the thought are not separate. So if you struggle with thinking, it is a struggle against yourself. This fight gasps a lot of energy. It is a civil war fought within yourself. Do not fight. Do not be violent. Be an observer. The moment you find yourself identified with the thought and you realize it, go back to observing the breath. No one in the history of meditation has ever managed to defeat thoughts. This is not possible, but it's true that thought can disappear, but never be struggling with them. This struggle is another conditioning to which we are subject. This fighting is a form of violence. By observing the breath, you will be able to be aware of noises outside of you and remain an observer of the breath. This is not very difficult. Observing thought will be more difficult. Next, you will need to observe the emotions. Always observing breathing, you will also need to be able to observe emotions. These come from the heart, from the fourth chakra, anahata. Emotion moves between hate and love. So you need to be able to observe the hate and love present within you. Do not judge, do not think the hate is negative and the love is positive. In reality, they are two sides of the same coin. You hate because you can love, and you love because you can hate. To transcend hate, you have to transcend love. To transcend love, you have to transcend hate. Do not identify with love and remain an observer of hate. It is not possible. Observation must be without choice. You cannot choose love. You cannot choose good against evil. The moment you do this, you will have identified yourself. You will be judging. The moment you judge, you are no longer an observer. You have to observe without choice. Whether it is noises, thoughts, emotions, it makes no difference. You cannot judge one noise as pleasant and another as unpleasant. You have to listen to noises without no choice. You cannot judge a pleasant thought, so be glad to observe it, and a negative thought, you refuse to observe it. If you do this, you will not be able to observe a positive thought. You will have identified with the thought, and you will forget to observe the breath and the thought. There is no difference between observations of noises, thought and emotion. What you need to do is the same for all three. Learn with noises, which are the easiest thing. Then move on the thought, and finally emotions. The noises are outside of you, so it is easier to observe them. Then the thoughts that come from the third chakra. The thoughts that come from the third chakra are the thoughts that concern indulging and denying. When you are able to observe this movement of thoughts regarding denial and indulge, without identifying and judging, you will have transcended the third chakra. Then you will have to transcend the emotion which originate in the fourth chakra. Observe the emotion that are either of love or hate without choosing. Only when you are able to observe this movement of hate and love present in you, without identifying yourself, without judging, will compassion arise. When this happens to you, you will have transcended the fourth chakra. To be continued. Thank you for listening.